Hi, this is Margaret from dataminingdna.com, and this video is about a new feature from GEDmatch, which they rolled out at the end of January 2021. Now, this feature is part of the paid tier. You can pay $10 for 1 month, and for your $10, you get all these tier 1 tools. And right down at the bottom is the latest tool, and it's called Find Surname Matches from DNA Matches. So it's basically a surname search across your DNA matches who have uploaded GEDCOM files to GEDmatch. Okay, so I'm just going to click into this. And one of the things that you may not notice immediately is that as a kind of almost a new departure for GEDmatch, a very welcome new departure, we have an instructions page. Let's just open that in a new tab. Some good info here, and if you don't skip the bottom part here, which is some scenarios that you might like to try out when using the tool. So in terms of picking the surnames, I'm going to go with the obvious, which is to use the surnames of 4 of my great-great-grandparents on one particular side and then another 4 on the other. But one of the things that they suggest is to find a census record for a distant ancestor and list the surnames on the page and on 1 or 2 pages on both sides. An interesting idea. So I'll crack on with actually using the tool. Up here, in terms of this search form, the only mandatory piece is to put in your kit number. So I'm going to stick in the kit number of mine. The next part here, which is the max number of closest matches, which GEDCOMs to consider, default is 500, and the minimum total sent to Morgan. I've got a companion article, which I'll link to in the description below on our blog, and I put some tips on what to do with these max matches and the minimum CM, etc. The minimum number of surnames per GEDCOM, the default is 3. I'm going to leave that at the default because I'm going to start with maybe 4 surnames. This one here is quite interesting, the search pedigree only. To explain the implications of this, I'll just touch on my search plan. My plan is to search at the level of my second great-greats on my maternal side, my maternal grandfather's grandparents. And I want to do a search with those 4 surnames. So let me just enter those and then I'll talk about the pedigree only filter. Okay, so it was Gamble. If I click on search pedigree only, the search tool will go and look at the GEDCOMs and it'll look for a combination of these 4 surnames, but only in the direct line of the GEDCOMs, not the collateral lines. By the collateral lines, I mean the wider tree. So go back to your great-great-great-grandparents, their siblings and spouses, and the descendants of the siblings and spouses. Those are the collateral lines. I mentioned this because I intuitively thought, well, if I tick this on, it might make the search faster. I wasn't sure how long the search was going to take. It's actually very fast anyway. But if you turn this on, the instructions tell you, it could make the search slower because it requires more processing power. As for this bit of using relaxed surname matching, double metaphone, you will look in vain at the instruction page to explain what this means, just so as I'm not telling pork who's messed up. Yeah, it's not mentioned. So, having gone through that, I've entered 4 surnames. And just to be clear, I've left the minimum number of surnames, I've left it at the default of 3, but I have specified 4 surnames. So let's see what happens. Click submit. And you can see it processing here, and that was pretty quick. Now, the maximum kits that checked by DNA matches were the top 500 who have GEDCOMs, right? So what I'm seeing at these top results here, this set of results are the GEDCOMs where all 4 surnames appear in the tree. And there's just 2. Then we get to the combinations and permutations of 3 out of the 4 surnames I listed. And this is just your maths. Remember, combinations and permutations from high school maths. Let's say for this one, it's only found 1, but for this combination, it's found 3. So the next thing you might be wondering is, what does this mean? Expected accidental tree matches 0, 2. It's a good thing it says 0 because that's not explained in the instructions. So top marks to GEDmatch for providing instructions page, but yeah, they don't cover everything that you're going to see here. Okay, just to illustrate the point here, where I set the minimum number of surnames to 3, or rather I kept it at the default, and I'm getting these combinations of 3 out of 4. Click the back button. If I reduce this down to 2, so now I'm going to enter 2, and I'm going to click submit. It might take slightly longer. Oh, still very fast. And now we've still got the same list for 4, and it should be the same list as it is, different permutations of 3 out of the 4. But notice now I'm now getting the permutations of 2 of the surnames out of the 4. What I can do here is I can rule out some of these for investigations. So when I look at my pairings, I have as spouses, I have Gamble Fitzpatrick and Cassidy McDermott, which means that in terms of focusing in on GEDCOMs to look at, Gamble Fitzpatrick, reverse, no problem. That is a pairing that I'm interested in with both of them in there. I'd zero in on this Fitzpatrick Gamble, the spouses in my tree. They're not necessarily spouses in this tree, right? That just means that they appear somewhere. They could be in totally different areas of the tree. In order to see how they appear, I need to take a look. Just in terms of doing an investigation, I'm going to start at the top. As these are the grandparents of my maternal grandfather, if all 4 appear in the tree, it's possible that this is a second or third cousin of mine. The next thing to do is to investigate. Now, what I found, and you'll see in my article, that the best use of the tool was using its integration with the one-to-one GEDCOM comparison tool, which is this feature. This CMP here, this link, it opens the one-to-one GEDCOM comparison tool, and it compares your own tree, your own GEDCOM, associated with the DNA kit that you specified with this individual's GEDCOM that's represented here. So that's that column here, but you have to have uploaded a GEDCOM file. And I would say that this tool makes it worth uploading. These links here and this link here, these jump you into the actual tree itself. This particular DNA kit of mine has an associated GEDCOM file. If it didn't, you wouldn't see this. But you would see this. So regardless, if you haven't uploaded GEDCOM at all to GEDmatch, you will get this column which lets you jump into the particular tree of this individual. I found this not to be particularly useful. So, and I'll just show you why. I'll take this top match here and I will open it in a new tab and I'm going to jump into that tree. So this is a public tree, but I'm coming in at the home person, and we've got this person's children are living people, therefore, of course, hidden. And I'll click on the pedigree. So I'm opening up the pedigree chart, and what the GEDmatch instructions say to you, there's no search facility, by the way. This search up here is a complete red herring. That search button is a search, just opens up the tool that lets you search across all GEDCOMs. It doesn't search in a particular tree, right? So it's kind of useless for this particular exercise. What I want is to find the names that I'm interested in. Now, there's no highlighting of this kind of red business with this GEDCOM display. The blue is paternal side, and the red is the maternal side of whoever you're looking at in terms of their father and their mother, right? So nowhere on this page is it going to highlight handily the surnames that you're searching for. So the way that GEDmatch say in their instructions to look for the surnames is to use the browser search, which is a Control F. So click Control F on your keyboard and it pops up this little search box. But if I put in Gamble, it doesn't appear anywhere on this page, nor do the other 3 surnames. Okay, I tried this before. Now, that's perfectly reasonable, and what the GEDmatch instructions are saying, well, is that they may not appear because they're not on this page. This page defaults to show 7 generations. So what you should do is increase that, and I think the GEDmatch instructions say to at least 12. I just 30. Just take 30 and click submit. So this has widened. So now, if I go looking for any and all of my 4 interests, Gamble, no, still not on the page. We had Patrick, still not. There's no Fitzpa. We had Cassidy, nope, no Cassidy on this page. And we have McDermott. There's a Mac, all right, which is McLaughlin. But once I put in the D, no, McDermott. What's going on here? Well, what's going on here is a little bit of a disconnect between the default of what you search for and how GEDmatch display GEDCOMs. This is a pedigree chart, right? It's a direct line. I'm seeing the direct line. I'm not seeing any of the collateral entries, which may or may not be in this tree. But in the search that I specified and what GEDmatch pretty much kind of steers you towards, and I wanted, I said, don't restrict to the pedigree only. I said, give me a search all the entire GEDCOM file for those surnames, but I'm not going to see them no matter on the direct line because they are not part of this particular match's direct line. So they're somewhere off on the collateral line. How do you get at that? Well, from here, I couldn't find any handy way other than to look at the descendants of each of the highest generation, right? So suppose I take, let's say we'll take this Thomas Bell. I just click into that entry here, okay? So that opens up Thomas Bell, and now I'm seeing Thomas Bell's children. If I click the descendants chart, now I'm getting the descendants, all the descendants of Thomas Bell. So just to be clear, this Thomas Bell has this particular individual. Let me find a daughter at number 2. Sabina Bell is a daughter of Thomas Bell. Sabina married Harry Barrett. And now what I have in as a collateral line in this particular tree are these Barretts. Where their daughters marry, I may see down a level their children with different surnames, right? And then we're getting down to the hidden level as we go down. Now I start having to look for Gamble, not there. Fitzpatrick, Cassidy, nope. McDermott, nope. And now correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about this, but as far as I can tell, there's no shortcut here. I have to go into each of these top ancestors and look at their descendants. Now that for any kind of tree, it's highly tedious. Having said that, if I was really motivated, I might do it. Then the other thing that GEDmatch says is that all of those 4 names could be living people, and therefore you're not going to see them. It says, be aware the tree display may not show an individual with a surname you know to be present. Usually that means the individual may be living or hidden. I'm assuming from that, and this, I may be wrong here, and it's not clear from the instructions, but my assumption is that if, let's say, one of these hidden people, suppose that was Gamble, I'm thinking that it's still going to be a hit by the search tool. Be that as it may, if this person was a close match, I'd be more inclined to look at the descendants of each of these ancestral lines to see the collateral and then do that Control F search. But it's really tedious. I think what's going on here is that we've got a new tool, but it's integrating with this really old display, which has very limited search capabilities. I mean, what I would like is that it would jump me to the individual. Even if it jumped me to one of the 4 of those surnames, it would be helpful. What I will say is that this is a great incentive, hopefully, for GEDmatch to improve their tree display. Okay, so I wasn't too wild about these links. I was far more appreciative of these links. And what this is going to do is it's going to compare your tree to this particular GEDCOM. So if I click on the CMP, in fact, I right click and open it. Now, this isn't doing anything particularly new. What it's doing is opening an existing tool, a tool that was already on GEDmatch, and it's part of the free tier, I believe, the one-to-one GEDCOM comparison. Come down to these, yeah. So down here are your GEDCOM comparison and search tools, and these are part of the free tier. And what it's doing is it's opening the 2 GEDCOMs comparison. So if I just open it from here from the home page, that opens that, and you have to type in the GEDCOM numbers yourself. All what's happening with using that CMP link is that it opens the existing tool and it pre-populates them, and it's just a little time saver. But anything that saves me time on GEDmatch is good with me. So I just click the compare, and this is where you kind of start doing your evaluation. So this is running now. It's running an algorithm. It's not immediate, and what it's doing now is it's showing me what it thinks are matches. This particular tool has a very liberal comparison, pretty liberal. It's matched Gaffney with Ganley, and those are not variants of the same name. I would prefer if they were a little bit more strict on that. And then we've got a match here, Anna and Hannah. That's fine. Those are 2 variants. And here where we see where it's kind of skewing is that we've got two different fathers, an Edward and James, and then we have a Cahill, and then we have Quinn. So I can rule that out. Just visually, I'm saying, okay, that's not a match. And now I'm kind of searching for these two variants. Dates are similar, but the birthplaces are different, and so on and so forth. So what you can do is you can evaluate. And I'm looking at this. I'm going to say, well, this particular person's tree is not. These people aren't representative in my tree. Right. So notice that it's not showing me matching on the Gamble, Fitzpatrick, Cassidy, and McDermott. I'm assuming because the tree does have Gamble in it, but the name and the details are so different in terms of a spouse, parents, birth details, death details, and probably the first name, that this evaluation has said, okay, that's not a match. So straight away, I can see that the four surnames that I put in to investigate, well, they're not coming up here, and that therefore this DNA match, the tree isn't really going to be useful to me. That is how I would continue to use this tool. I've worked my way down, but I'd use the CMP to rule people out. And the final feature to look at is what happens when you have multiple rows in any of these lists and you have these little checkboxes. Well, that goes with this line here, which is a little vague. Click this button for additional display and processing options. What could those be, one wonders? Well, I'll take these two here and I click submit. And what it's doing again, it's jumping you into an existing paid tool, the multi-kit analysis tool, and it's pre-populating those two DNA kits and your selected DNA kit, and it's getting you ready to run a multi-kit analysis. So just to be clear on that, just going back to the home page, down here to tier 1, there's the multi-kit analysis of the MKA tool. So it's the equivalent of launching this and having to put in the kits. So I'm not going to go through this as it's a little bit more complex and this video is getting kind of long. I really do think you'll get the best use out of this tool if you upload your family tree to GEDmatch. I've got an article which I'll link to in the description below. It's a step-by-step on how to add a family tree to GEDmatch. In terms of uploading a family tree to any external site, be sure that you're familiar with the privacy policies. I've put some details on the privatization. Just be sure that you're comfortable with how it goes about it. I'll put all the links in the description below, and hope that helps, and best of luck in your research.